All right, now Punjab is on high alert after a rocket-propelled grenade hit a police intelligence wing headquarters in Mohali last evening. A day after the attack, banned Khalistani outfit's leader Pannu has issued a threat message to Himachal Chief Minister, warning that he must take a lesson from Mohali attack. Pannu's father said that this attack could have taken place in Shimla police headquarters. Pannu's warning comes after Khalistani flag was seen hanging at the Himachal Assembly Gate on Sunday. Mohali police has now picked nearly a dozen suspects for questioning. They're being questioned at an undisclosed location. NIA team has visited the attack site midnight to take stock and is all set to send another team today. Investigation is on in the Mohali Grenade attack to see if this was indeed a terror attack.
कल जो इंसिडेंट हुआ है यहाँ पर इंटेलिजेंस हेडक्वार्टर में, उसको लेके आज हमने एक मीटिंग की है। इंटेलिजेंस के ऑफिसर हैं और जिला पुलिस के एसएसपी साहब और डीआईजी साहब हैं। इस केस को फेस करने के लिए हम लोग पूरे एफर्ट्स कर रहे हैं। हमारे पास लीड हैं और जल्दी ही हम इस केस को सॉल्व कर लेंगे।
कल रात जो मोहाली ਦੇ घटना हुई है, मैं डीजीपी साहब ਨਾਲ ਸਾਰੇ इंटैलीजेंस के अफसर ਨਾਲ मीटिंग ਲਈ है और सारा डिटेल जी है वो निकल रही है और गिरफ्तारियां कुछ हो भी गई, कुछ हो जाएगियां तो जड़ां तक पहुँच जाएंगे। तो मैं यही बार बार कहना चाहता तुहाडे जरिए कि जिन्हें भी पंजाब का माहौल को खराब करने की कोशिश की वो बख्शिया नहीं जाऊगा, सख्त तो सख्त सज़ा मिलूगी। उन्होंने कई पीढ़ियां याद रखणगियां कि असी पंजाब जिहड़ा हसदा वसदा पंजाब है उन्होंने तोड़ने की कोशिश की सी, ते सख्त तो सख्त सज़ा मिलूगी।
Now, the Sri Lankan crisis only deepened on Monday, pushing the entire country to the brink of a civil war. Homes of several sitting and former ministers, members of parliament and mayors have been set on fire by protesters. The house of Sri Lanka's former Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who put in his papers just yesterday, was entirely set on fire. Rajapaksa left his official residence, Temple Trees, early this morning after military cleared the protesters off. The government has now imposed a nationwide curfew until Wednesday. Despite the curfew being in effect, anti-government protesters have now lined up all along the streets leading to the international airport in an attempt to block any ministers leaving the country. 7 people are dead, over 222 are presently seeking treatment for injuries from yesterday's clashes. One ruling party MP was killed during the protest. Now the pressure is on President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to resign after the resignation of his brother. Sri Lanka has now been propelled into crisis after decades of economic mismanagement, which only worsened under the control of Rajapaksas. Now, Sri Lanka has over $4 billion of foreign debt, with its foreign reserves completely dried up.
Sri Lanka protesters are still out on the road. They are in full force and they are demanding that the president step down as well as this government to go home. So things haven't eased up at all. If not, it's just more tense. We have more angry protesters on the road. Security has been heightened as well throughout Colombo. And I'm told that there are so many protesters who are lined up close to, the airport, who are preventing people from checking vehicles to see if there are ruling members of this government who are trying to flee the country. So things are very much unstable and very tense right now.
Now, former Sri Lankan cabinet minister and cricket captain Arjun Ranatunga exclusively speaks to India Today's Ashutosh Mishra pertaining to the ongoing crisis. Arjun claims that the issue started and was staged by the Rajapaksa government. They resigned too late.
What is the situation that you are seeing in Colombo, in the island country?
I think it was a highly unwanted situation created by the Prime Minister who resigned yesterday. These protesters, these peaceful protesters have been protesting for almost 1 month without any violence. I think we all like the way they handle things. And unfortunately, last morning, President has invited some of his party supporters, MPs, ministers, and there were a fairly big crowd came to the Temple Trees, that is the Prime Minister's Prime Minister's office and the home, and they started talking about it. And unfortunately, it came to a stage where they were provoked by some of the ministers, even the Prime Minister, and that is where the incident started. These people who were supposed to be after alcohol went towards almost like a kilometer, maybe 1.5 kilometers from the temple trees to the protest area that is at the golf face, and they started attacking the innocent people, innocent protesters, and they started attacking the ladies, the priests, the people who were innocently protesting. They started attacking. That is where the entire country walked into the roads and started this particular issue. Ultimately, the president, after that, he left, but he left, put fire into the entire country. I think he and the ministers who provoked these people should take the blame on this issue.
Mr. Ranatunga, I would recall that in the last month when I visited Colombo, in the interview you had anticipated there could be some foul play, some mischief by the state actors or the non-state actors where they could disrupt the peaceful protest. Now, do you see it was a design, it was done by at the behest of the government, or you see it was the spontaneous reaction, the clashes between supporters and the protesters?
No, it was properly planned. I think the president has requested the prime minister to step down last afternoon. Before that, he got his supporters, who are the provincial council, town council, MPs, who were government loyalty politicians. And they were the ones who came into this particular meeting. And from there, they created them to go into the protest area. Even some of the ministers walked into the protest area. That is where it didn't go right. I think this is where this entire issue started. When the president wanted the prime minister to step down, prime minister brought his most of the supporters and asked them whether he should resign. Then everyone said not to resign. So it was all planned things organized by some of the ministers who has ruined this country and started provoking them to go into the unwanted area. And I'll tell you something else. I blame the police and the forces for that as well. They could have easily stopped them coming into the protest area. We have seen a lot of protests happening near the parliament. They started attacking water guns, and even tear gas was attacked. But this particular thing, they allowed them to walk towards them. I think it was a highly planned thing. And I blame the police, I blame the forces. They should have easily stopped this thing. This entire thing was planned by most probably the government, but supported by the police and the forces as well.